Thanks very much, Jim. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today. I always appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to this group or groups like it. I will tell you, Jim, I missed the comfy, cozy couch that we sat on for last year's event, but I am glad that we're doing this one in person.
Mosh pit, sir. That was my favorite.
You got it. All right. Anyway, thanks so much. I appreciate the time and I appreciate your attention to this very critical program. You know, it's no secret to me, no secret to you, certainly, that 2021 presented some significant challenges on a global scale. The COVID-19 pandemic threw two new viral waves at us, and in the JPO, a combination of funding shortfalls and technical challenges necessitated that we get creative and resourceful with all of our available resources, from people to dollars. Amidst the complexity and the challenges associated with this program, however, the F-35 industry, government, and international team made 2021 a year of incredible accomplishments, and it's my privilege to share a number of those with you today. At the F-35 Joint Program Office, our mandate is to continue to deliver a capable, available, and affordable fifth-generation strike fighter platform for our warfighters, outpacing our key competitors to win tomorrow's high-end fight as we develop, deliver, and sustain war-winning fifth-generation capabilities at high-end fourth-generation costs. We continue to prove and observe through current operations that the capability delivered by the F-35 is unprecedented. In its fifth-generation attributes, in addition to its fifth-generation attributes, the underlying factor that makes the air system so powerful is the way in which we use it to leverage joint and international partnerships to drive interoperability on a global scale. The F-35's ability to synthesize and share operational data seamlessly between the Air Force, the Navy, the Marine Corps, and other U.S. weapons is game-changing. Furthermore, the F-35 effect expands and glows exponentially when we layer in 7 international partners and an ever-growing list of foreign military sales customers on this joint foundation. That is our present. As we look to the future, we refer to our most critical capability upgrades as the Block 4 capability suite. And the key to unlocking this incredible set of capabilities is the delivery of Technical Refresh 3 hardware that brings significant increases in processing, throughput, and memory to the platform. My most pressing developmental task, therefore, is to keep Tech Refresh 3 on track to cut into production in Lot 15 in the summer of 2023. I simply cannot overestimate or overstate the criticality of meeting this TR3 commitment, and we're leaning very heavily into that developmental effort today to retire risks and execute to plan. So far, despite budgetary restrictions and developmental performance challenges, we continue to make deliberate progress. I'm pleased to tell you today that we began safety of flight qualification testing earlier this week on the integrated core processor, the brains of TR3, and we're driving hard to achieve that Lot 15 hardware cut-in. To be clear, we're not out of the woods yet, but we are working in lockstep with our government and industry team to deliver to this critical joint commitment. I know you're also likely eager to hear about our progress in the joint simulation environment, which, when finished, is going to allow us to digitally test new and existing aircraft against the world's most dense, most lethal threat environments. We continue to work closely with the Naval Air Systems Command to complete the JSE's development and validation, verification, and accreditation, or VV&A, so I don't have to say that all again, in order that we may execute the final 64 runs of F-35 initial operational test and evaluation in this very venue. We continue to mature the JSE's capabilities in 2021, resulting in increasingly stable performance in the facility. And with 42% of the JSE's packages now approved, we're making great progress against VV&A. This progress brings us ever closer to completing all 64 missions required to be executed in the JSE and allowing us to finally close out IOT&E. Moving forward, we're just going to continue to work aggressively to hammer at it and get done so that we can begin to use the JSE not just for IOT&E, but for the key and critical developmental tasks that we have before us in the years to come. We're also making great progress with the transition from the Autonomic Logistics Information System, or ALIS, to the modernized and government-owned ODIN, the Operational Data Integrated Network. In the last 6 months, the program delivered the first 14 ODIN base kits. This is the hardware that's 70% smaller, 30% cheaper, and light years faster than the squadron operational units that they replace, to 12 separate locations inside the U.S. and Europe. On the software side, by working and speaking directly with our maintainers, we identified and then tackled some of their biggest ballast head herders, reducing data quality action requests by 34%, and data quality issues that affect aircraft mission capability rates by nearly 50%. Even more impressive, the team reduced the number of open ALICE action requests from 2,231 in late 2019 to fewer than 200 today. These deliveries represent significant modernization efforts to ensure the F-35 logistics information system that supports this global fleet is positioned for future growth. You've heard me also state many times that cost is the greatest existential threat to the F-35 program. And because of this, the members of my team, along with me, remain laser-focused on enterprise affordability. And I remain personally committed to cost reduction across the acquisition lifecycle. Last year, we secured a significant affordability win for the program through the completion of the FY 21 to 23 annualized sustainment contract. This historic agreement is the first multiple-year sustainment contract for the program, and it's a quantum leap forward towards securing affordable lifecycle costs for our customers. The contract itself, by its design, drives improvements in performance through an incentive structure that is focused on year-over-year improvements in both mission capability rates and supply metrics. Under this contract, our average cost per flight hour in calendar year 23 for all variants is projected to be about 7.5% less than our initial projections and our program estimates. This contract sets the stage for further cost reductions and performance improvements and positions the program well for an effective supply support and demand reduction performance-based logistics contract in the future. I am committed to relentlessly attacking program costs as we move forward and firmly believe that affordability is a team sport. To that end, for those of you who engage with me in the F-35 program on a regular basis, and even for those of you that don't, by the power vested in me, I hereby deputize you to become affordability champions for the F-35 program. Don't just throw a rock, but bring me an idea. Right? No good ideas will be turned away, and please don't hesitate to engage with me personally or with my team if you see an opportunity to drive program cost in the right direction. My final key focus area for the program is affordability. Within the F-35 enterprise, we are driving year-over-year improvements to our fleet mission-capable rates by executing the foundational elements of our lifecycle sustainment plan and our global support solution. As we make progress against and eventually retire current availability degraders like the F-135 power modules and resolve some of our lingering technical issues, I look forward to a period of steady improvement in full mission capability rates. As F-35 maintenance and repair infrastructure matures, we will be better equipped to cycle aircraft through organic and OEM maintenance and overhaul facilities. And to that end, we're on track to exceed our depot flow plans in this coming year, just as we did in 2021. We were able to deliver on these commitments by working closely with our U.S. service sustainment partners, including the U.S. Navy's Fleet Readiness Centers and the Air Force Sustainment Center. At FRC East, for example, we introduced an advanced laser shock peening process to extend the life of critical components on the aircraft. We also worked extensively with the Air Force Sustainment Center's Heavy Maintenance Center at Tinker Air Force Base, Oklahoma, who exceeded their F-135 power module production by 25% by the end of 2021. This same HMC also produced 3 times more power modules in 2021 than they did in 2020, and they're on track to deliver 60 F-135 power modules to the enterprise this year. If you were listening carefully, though, you'll know that expanding the HMC's capacity is only one of 3 levers that we're pulling to improve power module availability. The other 2 are to keep engines on wing longer and to establish a broader and deeper global capacity for power module retrofit and overhaul. So the program continues to deliberately grow and expand its infrastructure internationally as well, achieving significant milestones within our F-35 partner nations. Working with our Australian and Dutch partners, we activated F-135 regional maintenance, repair, overhaul, and upgrade facilities in those nations. These facilities provided the critical technical support needed to overhaul and maintain F-135 engines, and they deliver that service in areas strategically located to provide optimal support to OCONUS F-35 operations. The program further matured MRO&U capability in Europe last year by inducting its first F-135 fans and power modules at Norway's regional MRO&U facility. The importance of these advances is twofold. First, It allows us to support our warfighters' sustainment requirements. But second, it adds resilience to that sustainment infrastructure to fortify engine maintenance and repair for the entire F-135 and F-35 enterprise. But not as all rosy, right? If you look at the data, you're going to see a slight decline in F-35 mission-capable rates in 2021. And understanding the root cause of these degraders is key to our ability to address them. Understanding issues like the F-135 power modules, and we're getting after them. But beyond these degraders, these things that hurt us today, we're also tackling the enterprise actions required to deliver a healthy fleet for tomorrow. Keeping parts on wing longer, having spares available when these parts eventually fail, and then establishing the repair capacity and the repair velocity to meet that ever-growing fleet demand. These fundamentals are unchanged from when I spoke to you before, and we will continue to move deliberately forward in each and every area. In closing my prepared remarks, I'll end where I started. The F-35 isn't just coming, it's here. The air system we're delivering today is remarkable. From a capability perspective, I would argue that it's unmatched, although the gentleman who spoke just before me has a much better perspective on its performance, perhaps, than even I do. Despite the headwinds we face in the upcoming Lot 15 through 17 production contract negotiations, this air system is also becoming increasingly affordable, and we're working daily to assess and address the current degraders and put into place long-term structures that make it also increasingly available. I'll also offer that seeing the air system engaged in current operations is more than a little motivating for me and my team. Don't get me wrong, no program is perfect, and a program as complex as the F-35 will always have challenges, but none of these challenges are insurmountable. We attack and retire them each and every day and maintain focused on delivering the most lethal, survivable, and connected fighter aircraft in the world for our joint and international warfighters, and even to our own sons and daughters. I thank you again, Jim, for having me here today. Thanks to you and the audience who continue to support and advocate for this tremendous capability. I appreciate the opportunity to present some prepared remarks, and I think we even have a little bit of time left over for questions.
Sir, can you hear me, sir? Sorry about that.
I can hear you. I don't know if they can.
We've only reserved an hour and a half for questions for you today, sir.
Okay, good.
I misspoke. I apologize. I'm looking at my clock. I think it was 15 minutes, sir.
Okay, awesome. I noticed it just turned yellow. I think that means 12 and a half minutes.
No, sir. So yellow means 45 minutes to go.
Got him. Okay.
Just 10. At the risk of being inappropriate, what's the challenge you're seeing in TR3? I know that's critical to get to Block 4, and then what's the critical path to get through TR3, and then what's the combat capability that you're really looking for in Block 4 might be a fantastic starting.
Yeah, so for the problem of TR3, I'm going to say started for us a couple of years ago. I think as we got into the program, I think our industry partners may have done some combination of underestimating the complexity of the challenge or bit off more than they could chew. But what resulted was delays in the early development and then a race to catch up, right, which manifested itself in some significant overruns relative to that developmental work. Right, the significance of those overruns, when you combine it with the congressional marks we took last year, meant that we had a significant loss in buying power, and so we had to pause significant portions of the remaining Block 4 development in order for us to get this foundational element, this hardware enabler, actually fully through development and able to be cut into Lot 15. Sometimes people forget, in addition to TR3 being a key enabler of the Block 4 capability set, it's also a diminishing manufacturing sources solution, right? We can no longer buy the parts we need, the TR2 parts we need to support the growing fleet. We have to transition to TR3. So perhaps an underestimation of the work ahead. We got behind. They accelerated the work to catch up. We ended up with a cost overrun and had to pause a lot of work through 2021. With the arrival of 2022, fiscal 22, we've been able to resume most of that work, right? And we remain on track to deliver TR3 into the Lot 15 hardware.
Yes, sir.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't need it, but the people online might. Yeah, so the question was, do I see a light at the end of the tunnel relative to the lot 15 through 17 negotiations? I think the answer is yes. We need to award the lot 15 through 17 contracts, and I'm committed to working closely with Lockheed Martin, working closely with my warfighting customers so that everyone understands the implications of, I'll say it this way, the global economic situation that we're in, which has put pressure on the unit recurring flyaway cost that we had all thought we would be looking at in this time frame. So we are working tirelessly, my team, Lockheed's teams, their subs, to come to agreement in this, on this vehicle that allows us to recognize some of the pressures that industry is facing due to COVID, due to inflation, due to I'll say a reduction in quantities over the previous lot buy, which was 478 aircraft in 12 through 14. So there are pressures against that negotiation, but there's still only so much money available. So I have to make sure that we can buy the most we can with the dollars we have, delivering that capability at a cost that taxpayers can afford. So it's incumbent upon me and my team, upon the department, to get together with Lockheed and hammer this out. It does nobody any good if we don't come to agreement. Yeah.
Anyway, Bill Conley, I'm the CTO for Mercury Systems. And so obviously being 3 levels down with a bunch of programs, there's a lot of things we've learned about our supply chain through COVID. I'm curious, are you seeing any changes in terms of what's required for long lead time items?
Yeah, certainly COVID-induced delays to product and component delivery, I think, are part and parcel of what's driving some of the concerns with our negotiations, right? As those delays end up being priced into the air vehicle price, that drives pressure to us. I think at the end of the day, I'm going to say it this way: I need to count on industry to figure this out, right? You guys are the best in the world at building airplanes, at building components. Right. Every time we get into a place where we have a stable production floor, that should allow us to drive efficiency in. And you're going to learn from COVID, just like we in program offices and you in other offices are going to learn how you operate in this new paradigm. I need to count on you all to figure it out so that we can get to a place where we're back to learning again, we're back to performing again, we're back to historical levels of throughput, despite the fact that this new normal is upon us. We're 2 years down the road. 2 years we've been living with masks, although it's great to see you all without masks on the lower half of your face. But it's time for us now to start performing in this new normal. And that's what I really need help from all of you on the industry side on. Thanks. Well, no more questions? I'm out.
Eric, I have one. Here. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There's been a lot of talk with Secretary Kendall and others about the Loyal Wingman program, manned-unmanned teaming. Are you starting to think about how the F-35 would get into that type of arrangement?
Yeah, so thanks for the question. I think there's an incredible opportunity for us to leverage manned-unmanned teaming within F-35. Frankly, in my mind, I don't see 6th Gen as a platform. I see 6th Gen as a capability or a family of systems, a family of platforms. And if I lean really far forward, I would articulate that I see the F-35 as the leading edge of 6th Gen. And having us as part of that conversation, bringing our capabilities to bear with respect to experimentation, product, and component maturation, all of that, in my mind, will make 6th Gen a greater reality than it is today. And I think the opportunities for man-to-man teaming, I look forward to any opportunity to experiment and to grow capabilities with leave-behinds there. Good question.
They gave me the non-work. They gave me the child's microphone, sir. I apologize. Well, they gave me the placebo one. I noticed you haven't brought up AETP yet. Is there I can see you put out the RFI.
Yep.
What to be candid, sir, what kind of feedback have you gotten from the services? Are we likely to see AETP competition really be a thing of the future?
Yeah.
If so, when would it appear, and when would you hope that, if it were to occur, when would you hope the cut-in date would be?
Yep. So we're working really, really closely with the services. You're probably all tracking. There's NDAA language associated with a mandate to do to develop plans for the implementation of engine modernization structures, both within the Air Force and within the Navy. To that end, and actually starting before the language even came out, we had initiated a business case assessment of combinations of engines and power and thermal management systems that can help us to solve what we see as a future issue, a future challenge related to F-35 power and cooling. So if you go back to the beginning of the program, it was initially spec'd for about 15 kilowatts of power draw from a power and cooling perspective off of the engine, right? By the time we reached the end of the SDD phase, we're at about 30 kilowatts. So twice the power draw from the engines that had been designed into it, so eating a bunch of that margin away. We're up a little bit from that too, but still on the order of 30 kilowatts, 30 to 32 kilowatts. What that does, though, is it drives increased wear and tear on the engine. We turn up the wick, we burn it hotter, and it drives engine lifing reductions. And as we look forward, beyond Block 4, I'll say, we know also that we will have increased demand above the 32 that we require now. We will have increased demand for power and cooling from the engine. And so what we're trying to do is to put into place a solution that allows us to deliver those capabilities. And that will require an engine that's either modified or created that will allow us to draw that kind of power and cooling. And it'll require a power and thermal management system that allows us to actually pull that power off the engine and provide it to the aircraft. And so we're looking at combinations and permutations of PTMS systems, power and thermal management systems, and engine upgrades or new engines that allow us to do that. We're going to present those results to the services, to the Air Force, to the Navy, to the Marine Corps, for them to make a decision, an informed decision on their desired path forward, and we look to do that by the end of the summer. We're going to incrementally roll out some of those results in the interest of informing budgetary decisions in the near term, but we're working very, very closely as a team to make sure everybody understands the implications of all of those different solutions. Fair?
Well spoken, sir.
All right.
And I see that we've gotten the red light.
Got the red
It looks
light.
like there's one more person that's just trying to squeeze one last one in, sir.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim. General Marcus Weisgerber with Defense One. I was wondering, in light of recent events in Europe, have any allies expressed any interest in moving or getting their jets quicker? And separately, is that even possible?
Yeah, so I don't believe that anyone has reached out to us directly and said, can we accelerate? But certainly, we are interested in solving our warfighters' problems, right? And so to the extent that, that a request comes in, we'd be happy to have that conversation. Yeah, whether it's the U.S. or whether it's international partners, FMS customers. I'm not in the business of selling jets, but I am in the business of providing them and supporting those requirements. So happy to do so if asked. Thanks.
Sir.
All right.